Welcome to the Comeback Athlete Podcast. I'm Blake, I'm our host, and today we're going to continue our series in November on traveling and fitness. So, how do you stay fit while traveling? And so, today's question that we're going to kind of dive into is, can you get fit without a perfect gym routine? So, what do we mean by that? We mean, can you get fit while traveling and not having a perfect routine of always staying at home, waking up at the same time, and going to bed at the same time? Now, in an ideal perfect world, right, as a coach, I want that person who goes to bed at the same time, wakes up at the same time, because the likelihood of them getting results is much higher than the person who has to have a lot more flexibility. But that's not the question. The question is, can you get fit and have a lot of that flexibility in traveling, vacationing, taking lots of business trips, and get fit? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. I have watched other coaches do it. I have done it with I have helped clients through this process. And there are three real key characteristics that I have found with all the clients that have gone through this that helps them. And those three we'll save for the end. But I want to share a couple stories with you. So I've got two clients in particular that have traveled quite a bit throughout the entire year. I've worked with these clients for several years, and they've had great results. And one of them is a client who is remote. We meet in person once a week, and then we do 5 workouts or 4 workouts remotely that they do on their own. This person has to travel a lot for work. This person has to travel a lot because they're invited to, him and his wife will be to the clients of it. They're invited to a lot of weddings, parties, vacations that are pretty extravagant and are overseas or far away. And so their routine of their diet, their routine of their sleep, their routine of their training can be a little bit inconsistent. So what have they done and how have they had success? This one in particular, Keith, has had a great success with upper body strength, which is a high priority for him and his goals. And so last year, he hit a test of strict dips at 13 dips, right? That was the max dips he could do. And he traveled, I think, to at least 3 weddings this past year. One was in Scotland, one was in Jackson Hole, and one was local, but like 2 hours away, and still had to go spend the night and take up several days. He had multiple work trips. He had other vacations that he took with just him and his wife. And so I would say on a combined traveling, he was probably gone out of the 52 weekends, probably about 20 of those weekends. So not quite half, but close, right? Here's a client that still went from 13 dips last year to 31 dips on his test we just did this past week, right? He went from being able to only bench his body weight maybe 5 times to he could bench press his body weight about 7 to 8 times for multiple sets in a workout. So where it went from like that was the peak, couldn't do it again, to I can repeat that in a workout for 5 rounds on top of doing max pull-ups. So there's been extreme growth in a year. There's been extreme body composition change in a year. There's been a lot of strength gain in a year, and there was a lot of inflexibility. So I'll give you one more example, and then I'll give you the keys to how they achieve this. The other one is his wife, who also has the same amount of travel trips, right? She had a wedding that she needed to get ready for 2 years ago, right? And so has similar kind of schedule, lots of traveling, lots of things she goes on with her husband for business trips, vacations. And so wanted to drop about 12 to 15 pounds before one of her son's weddings, okay? One of the key things we did, and it was just a study of both of us knowing her diet well, her contributing quite a bit to that. And we realized that her diet was clean, her walking outside the gym was really good, her sleep was good, her workout routine was good, but her portion sizes were just a little too much. So you could say she could calculate her calories, but she didn't want to do that, right? That's a nuisance to her and for a lot of clients. So what we did was we just eyed those those portion sizes, right, from like being a palm's worth to a half a palm, right, of protein, or a cup of carbohydrates, three of them to two of those, right? And so we would just lower it, and she dropped weight super fast and kept it all off. The best thing about her results is that she's maintained her results for over 2 years now. And so that's like a true weight loss, figured out the habits, figured out the dieting routine, and she's flourishing and doing really well. Okay, great testimonials, kind of a humble flex of showing you I know what I'm doing as a coach, and our coaches at Comeback can do all the same things. So what are the key principles? There's really three. And the three ones are every time they got back into town, they got right back into their normal health routine. Sometimes it was a pain in the butt because you're coming from Europe and you're coming over back to America, you're jet lagged, you're exhausted. And so we would ramp them back up, right? Not necessarily kill them when they came back, but we get them in the gym, back to moving, back to showing up, back to getting those wins under your belt and making that habit when they were in town back on those routines. That got their diet back in check, they got their sleep back in check, and they got back into the gym on their normal routine and working hard when they were here. Okay, that's number one. Number two is when they were away, they were avid walkers. They did a ton of walking everywhere they went. And so they made sure that they were active, whether it be hiking, whether it be going just downtown walks through some urban cities, but they stayed very, very active with just getting their steps in. And thirdly, they did a great job of doing remote workouts where they could to the best of their ability and portion control. So I made those two together because one is the diet aspect of being on the road. The other is actually controlling if you can drop into a gym and do some of the workouts that we were prescribing and trying to get done. They actually tried to get those done. And I would say they did a relatively around 70% of those. So if they were gone, those 20 weekends out of the year, probably 15 of them, they did a really good job of hitting those workouts. So those are three of the key things. These are real simple ones you can take with you. So in conclusion, if you're traveling, right, when you get back, it's key that you have habits that you come back to. So if you don't have those habits that you've already established when you're home and it's easy, you'll never be able to get them when you have an inflexible schedule. So you have to create home patterns that you can follow. Number two, when you are gone, you need to make up for it with portion control, right? So not overeating, and then constant walking. A tendency when we travel is we sit too much and not do enough activity. So making sure you're doing that versus just sitting a lot, eating more, and drinking more, which is a recipe to put on a lot of weight. Thirdly, they made the other big one is try to get workouts that you can if you have a coach on the road, figuring out how to modify those and do those to the best of your ability. And don't be perfect, but be consistent, right? So 15 out of 20, right? You're looking at like a 75, 80% rate there that you're trying to hit. And that actually mitigates a lot so that in the long term, like Keith did this past year, you go from 13 dips to 31 dips. Why? Because he never quit. He didn't say, I'll come back in a couple weeks. Let's just pause right now. No, he did what he could in those times. And then when he got back, he worked hard. And he realized that this was a long-term process. And so having that mindset was key to having that success from year in and year out. So if you're interested and you want to get better in your fitness, you're a traveler, right? And you're trying to figure out how can I think through being healthy with my schedule being a work schedule that has me gone a lot or a schedule that requires that I travel for work. If those things are you and you want to not have to think about this on your own, I highly recommend that you head on over to our website and apply for a discovery call with one of our coaches. Our coaches are geared towards making a customized program for you, both nutrition and fitness. So we gear all your workouts. We do them through an app where you get to see the demo videos. We have notes for you. We communicate with our clients Monday through Friday, every 24 hours. We give technique and form on your videos and responses. We do nutritional, not only knowledge, but also nutritional guidance. And so we can prescribe macros. We can also just help with educating on what nutrition you should be eating for your goals and for your particular body. One of the things that is holding a lot of people back is they don't realize how individualized their program needs to be for them, and they're trying to copy somebody else that they think they ought to be like and think they will get the same results. So if you're tired of this, if you feel like this is you, head on over to comebackathlete.com, hit our application process, and we'll reach out to you within the next 24 hours. We also have some free stuff over there that'd be awesome for you to check out on some really good content regarding just how to build healthy habits and to look, feel, and move like an athlete again. That's our slogan for people who really just want to not necessarily be bodybuilders, but they really want to feel built, not burnt. They really want to feel like they're training like an athlete because it's fun to them. So if that's you, head on over. We'd love to connect with you and see if our services are a good fit for you. And hope this was helpful. Have a great day. Peace.